Four Nights of the Apocalypse chapter 194 is officially here, and this chapter was incredibly unexpected. While we got to delve more into Tristan as a person from Isolde's perspective, and we get to see another side of him that we don't really get to see, we also get to see how much Tristan means to her, and see what Isolde's plan kind of is to kind of help snap him out of his brainwashing. See more as to why Isolde picked Tristan of all people to brainwash, and we actually get this fight resolved within this chapter in a very unexpected way. And I can't wait to dive right into that with you guys. Before we jump into things, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. I am less than 700 subscribers away from hitting 30k. And we all know when that happens, I'm going to start doing my 7 Deadly Sins manga retrospective. So if you want to see that, help share this video, find friends that like Four Nights of the Apocalypse and 7 Deadly Sins, or just anything I do on the channel in general, to come here and subscribe, and I will get started on the retrospective as soon as possible. And if you want to see me do videos on American comic books, I have a second channel called GW Comics, where I talk about American comic books. Right now, I'm more of a DC-focused channel, but I'm going to be spreading out more into Marvel, Image Comics, and other comic books, so look forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now then, let's jump right into the chapter. Chapter 194 of Four Nights of the Apocalypse, titled Tantris vs. Isolde. Cover image is all of Team Tristan as kids, as they're going off on a little mini adventure with Tristan leading them with a mini satchel that kind of looks like Meliodas' old backpack, which I kind of find kind of adorable. And Isolde holding that storybook of fairy tales that has been referenced in previous flashbacks and will come into play later on in this chapter, actually. So the chapter begins with Isolde and Tristan facing off, continuing with Isolde basically telling Tristan that she has no need to tell him who he is despite her knowing him. And Isolde ends up clashing once more with Tristan, saying that she knows full well how much of a weak-kneed coward he is, as this kind of gets Tristan off his game for a second as he dodges out of the way, as Isolde keeps berating him seemingly. All while the fake Isolde, who, mind you, we still have no idea what her actual name is, goes on to tell Tristan not to listen to anything she says, saying that he is a strong, courageous young man, and that she knows that more than anybody, on being the best friend possible for Isolde right now, as she just says that this girl is so messed up right now, as Nazienz is also agreeing with how weird this is being. While Donnie and Gareth are like, man, women are scary, and looks like he's going to have another battle to fight soon, referring to Tristan and everything. But the fake Isolde glances over towards Beltra, saying that Tristan has to win this for her sake, because she sure as hell can't count on the father who threw her aside anymore. As we get a flashback to Beltra, aka Damon, telling Isolde as a little girl, whenever you marry, my child, pick a man stronger and braver than me. Am I clear on that, Isolde? Scratch that. Turns out her name really is actually Isolde also. I can't believe I forgot that. I reread this chapter like 3 times before coming to this video. I am so stupid. Anyway, after this flashback, she begins to say, yes, that is why I chose you. Seeing as she's being attacked by a monster, seemingly the first time that Tristan and this Isolde ended up meeting, she says that she found someone who was brave, strong, and cares for and protects her alone. And all this is going on while Tristan and Isolde are continuing to clash, as the two of them begin to trade blow for blow, and even now beginning to damage each other with each strike, which I find incredibly impressive, with An being confused with the fact that they were pretty evenly matched before. But Kian even says that training was real life battle in all but name. Training has value, they said, only when you go beyond going easy on it. As An is confused, being like, but couldn't that lead to serious injuries? With Kian saying that it was Isolde who made that suggestion in the first place. Because to her, this is how serious it is when it comes to Tristan. It's no exaggeration to say that she's ready to throw her very life away for his sake. So, turns out the training, if I'm reading this correctly, that Isolde and Tristan had was to the point of literally doing like almost life or death fights, to the point where they would actually injure each other. Honestly, the fact that Tristan has insane healing abilities It kind of makes sense considering that he'd be able to heal himself and Isolde after training back to full health with no injuries whatsoever, so they could kind of afford to kind of go a bit more all out in their training. But I like how Isolde in the past suggested actual training that could lead to both of them getting injured for the sake of getting real combat experience so that they could actually grow. That is an insane amount of dedication while also pushing Tristan himself, because now the two of them are constantly training to the point of injuring each other because they need actual real world combat experience. Otherwise, it's not really much of a worth to do all the time. So that is definitely interesting. But after hearing this, we transition into a flashback, with Isolde talking about how she met Tristan for the first time, thinking that he had stepped out of a fairy tale, that he was a gallant, handsome, gentle-mannered person with a calm but sweet voice, saying how he was naive, he had a great smile, and that he was a son of Meliodas the great hero, and that he would someday have the weight of the kingdom put on his shoulders, with visualization of the two of them being so far apart in different worlds that she couldn't hope to be by him. As we cut to a bit later in this flashback, as Isolde is just realizing that she possibly can't be with Tristan because, you know, it's just a dream at this point. He's a prince, she's just a regular kid, and all that stuff. As Kion and Jade are being like, oh yeah, sure, it's good that you accept this at this point. But while Isolde, after being talked to by Kion and Jade, is kind of accepting this, a guard runs towards them, calling for Tristan, as apparently Tristan kind of disappeared, ran away, I guess. As Jade, Kion, and Isolde agreed to go and try and find them. But then Isolde, after walking towards somewhere else in the city, ends up seeing Tristan hiding away in a little hole somewhere, curled up on the ground, crying his eyes out. As Isolde drops her book, as she's seeing Tristan just fully breaking down right now, as he tells Isolde not to tell anybody. Because if they find out that he was crying, especially his parents, they'll end up worrying, and Kion and Jade might laugh at him. Based off this, it's very possible this is before the second attempt on Kion's life by Margaret, I think. It's very hard to pinpoint that, but if Tristan thinks that, this might be right before all that stuff happened, for all we know. And especially with how Kion's demeanor is without being so gung-ho about finding Tristan and all that, so it's very possible. It works either way, it's just something that came to mind while I was reading. But Isolde, instead of saying anything about it or even questioning him, she grabs him by the hand and says she will swear she won't tell anybody. And with the visualization of the storybook gone, she kind of realizes who Tristan actually is. The side that he tries not to show anybody at all. That he didn't live in some faraway world after all. He may have been the son of Meliodas, a member of the Seven Deadly Sins and future king of Leonis, and had a prophecy that he's known since he was a kid, which means this shows just how far back the prophecy was, showcasing that probably at this point was maybe around the time when Tristan realized that he was one of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, who was destined to save the world in the future. But this shows that despite how he acts to everybody, and even in his own movie, all these pressures were getting to him, and he just needed to vent in the past. He would find somewhere and just cry it out despite everything that was going on. But even with that happening, he still had the resolve and will to just push past that and get back up and not succumb to the pressure so that he can be the proper knight that he needs to be to help the world. And after seeing that other side of Tristan and his resolve, Isolde wholeheartedly believed and vowed that from that day forward, she would devote everything she had to Tristan. As we then transition back into the present, I want to stop here and talk about this for a second because I do like this. One, this shows us a section for Tristan that we never really get to see. He's always someone that tends to take things in stride. We know that there's like some stuff going on with him and the expectations thrust upon him by everybody else, especially with who his parents are. But this is the first time we've seen, at least from him as a child, that he has been being dealt with a lot of pressure. It's weighing him down and it causes him a lot of stress. But despite all that, and despite, running away, crying himself in a corner, kind of letting all that out due to all the pressure and stress he's under with everything that's expected of him, he still has the willpower to get up and continuously going forward. This is an extra addition to Tristan as a character, an additional piece of depth that I do like. I like the addition to it, as this also shows why ISOLDE truly did care and fall for Tristan so long ago. He's not some fairy tale prince. He's not just some massively powerful knight that's super important and is probably going to be king one day. She's somebody that she can admire, somebody that will push past everything, all the pressures and the weight of the world to do what needs to be done, but still shows that vulnerable side when the need arises. And I kind of like that. And it shows with the visualization of her letting go of the storybook in this chapter that she's done with the fantasies of him being some perfect knight and hero, that she kind of knows about this other side to him and kind of kept it to herself with that promise. So yeah, I like it. It's a nice bit of extra depth to Tristan, but also to ISOLDE and their overall relationship. She does love him, but she has no real full delusions of grandeur that she is trying to force on the situation at all. And she just wants to do what's best for Tristan. Now, with that piece of Tristan information, I do hope that as this arc goes on in future arcs, we build more into Tristan's character, as he is, at this point, the member of the Four Knights that we have delved into the least. So I feel like Tristan is definitely much deserved for more in-depth looks and for more proper development, and this chapter is probably going to lead into that. But for now, we cut back to the chapter in the present, as ISOLDE is then dealt a bigger blow by Tristan, as the second ISOLDE is cheering that that is the way to do things, as everybody is calling out to Tristan and ISOLDE just wanting this fight to stop. As even Tristan saying, look, at this point it's useless to keep going, just give up, I don't want to hurt you anymore. But ISOLDE is still standing firm, as she says, I don't want you to dive into the battle against Camelot at all, and I don't want you to be hurt by anything. As she lunges towards Tristan once more, trying to hit him with more of her love bomb infused mace, and she keeps saying, you swore to yourself that you'd step up, since you wanted to protect people most of all, and at the very least, I want you to recall your mission as a knight of prophecy, please. As she has tears in her eyes, as she manages to knock Tristan back. Obviously he blocked it, but she knocked him back nonetheless. But ISOLDE keeps rushing forward, as she says, but if I can wish for one more thing. All while the other ISOLDE is telling Tristan to fight, and also saying in her mind, please don't remember all that. As Tristan goes over to block ISOLDE's blow and deflect it, but his blade ends up getting launched forward, and it pierces ISOLDE. As in the next page, she is run clear through the chest, most likely through the heart, by Tristan's other blade, as she drops her mace, as she doesn't have much of a surprised look. As the last thing ISOLDE says right now, as everybody is in shock of what just happened, even the other ISOLDE is shocked that Tristan stabbed her through, ISOLDE tells Tristan, just remember the one who swore to support you alongside Kian and I, the man who lost his life doing just that for you. And as he sees the blood drip from her chest, we get a badum, as he, in shock, begins to be overflown with all of his memories of Jade's death, of Kian, ISOLDE, everything they've been to together. His best friends in the world, his team, the people he cares about the most, and the death of one of his friends, who he wasn't there for. As we cut back to the present, as the other ISOLDE is wondering what's going on with Tristan, as An yells at the announcer, who is Gowther, to just call the match already. As Gowther calls the match in Tristan's win, as ISOLDE now falls to her knees unconscious as Tristan catches her. As he says, I am a weak-kneed coward. I only made it this far because all of you were supporting me. I'm sorry, ISOLDE, with Tristan crying out over ISOLDE with her bleeding out. As the chapter ends, with Tristan seemingly 100% back to his former self. That's the chapter. I liked it. Now, originally, I thought that this was going to be a 2-chapter long fight, as this chapter would end with Tristan gaining his memories back slowly, and then everything being decided in the following chapter. But no, this is a very ISOLDE-focused chapter, diving into what makes Tristan who he is, and why Isolde follows him regardless. And in the midst of this fight, she tells Tristan, despite everything, and despite her wanting him to be safe, she just also wants him to just be the person that he truly is, fighting no matter what, being by everybody's side, and helping others. That is something that she wants to see, but also wants him to remember them. And the last thing she says after getting stabbed in the chest, which poetically, Gian was run through by Macbeth in the chest, protecting her, in that manner, basically tells Tristan, remember the person who fought alongside us to protect you, and who lost his life doing that very same thing. Just like how at the beginning of this tournament, we learned everything that they went through when it came to the fake Jade of Camelot. And yeah, that plus Isolde seemingly dying due to himself stabbing her triggered Tristan's memories, and that is an extreme way to make someone regain their memories, but I guess Tristan really needed that big shock to snap him out of it. And the fact that it was Isolde while also trying to remind him of Jade, a still relatively fresh wound for all of them, makes complete and total sense. Now, one thing is that I don't think Isolde intentionally got run through by Tristan. I think that was just a plain old accident. She hit his sword back and he tripped backwards as his right sword just went forward as he tripped, and that accidentally stabbed her. At least I think that's the thing. Now, Isolde did not dodge out of the way. She probably would have been able to dodge based off how they've been fighting thus far. But still, the stab seemingly was not a full part of her plan, but I guess she just went with it. Now is Isolde gonna die? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen. Percival's right there. He's basically the Dragon Balls at this point, so he could definitely bring her back to life if her spirit is still there, and if, you know, she still wants to be around, as we've seen by Jade, and I think that's going to be the case. We're not going to kill off Isolde, especially like this, but still, it was a nice moment, and I do appreciate it. So I can't wait till next chapter. Tristan's back. I can't wait for the real reunion between everybody and Tristan, now that his memories are back, and to see how this tournament's going to progress any further, now that Tristan's back to normal, and 3 of the knights are going to officially be together. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen now with this tournament and how things are going to progress further. But what do you guys think of this chapter and everything that happened in it? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and speculations on the future of the series, or in the next chapter, in the comments section down below. And once more, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos, and shows you guys want me to keep doing videos like this going on in the future. And once more, almost at 30k, once at 30k, I'm going to do my 7 Deadly Sins manga retrospective, so look forward to that. And with all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.